Greetings. Today we continue with the fourth and final installment on the first of the seven bowl judgments from Revelation 16, 1 and 2. Now we want to look at the scope of the iniquities. Time fails us to be able to exhaustively compare the other violations of God's law. We just looked at the first few pertaining to God. The taking of his name in vain, the breaking of the Sabbath, the failing to honor one's parents, the murdering of others, the commission of adultery, the theft from one another and from God, the bearing of false witness, and the covetousness of men toward one another. Each and every one of God's commandments will be being broken without regard for its consequence. The penalty consistent with the crime is also set forth here in Revelation 16, 1 and 2. We find in Exodus chapter 9 and verse 8, the Lord said unto Moses and to Aaron, take you hands full of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And they took the ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh. And Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had spoken unto them. In chapter 32 of Exodus and verse 35, it says, and the Lord plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron made. Again, in Numbers 12 and 10, it says, and the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow, and Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Leviticus chapters 13 and 14 are dedicated to the subject of leprosy, as the final verse, that is chapter 14:57, indicates, where it says, to teach when it is unclean, and to teach when it is clean, this is the law of leprosy. We should also note a similarity to what Revelation 16:2 describes in comparison to what Job 2:7 and 8 expresses as was experienced by Job. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown, that is the crown of his head. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. However, the scriptures are clear that in Job's case, this was not judgment upon any sin which Job had committed, although his friends thought that it was punishment for some secret sin, as they often expressed. God promised to bring such judgment upon Israel if they forsook the covenant with him in Deuteronomy 28 verses 27 and verse 35. Deuteronomy 28:27 says, the Lord will smite thee with the botch, the boils of Egypt, and with the hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. Verse 35 of Deuteronomy 28. The Lord will smite thee in the knees and in the legs, with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. God will bring to pass such confusion and pain upon those who dwell upon the earth for their iniquities against both him and his law. And remember, this is only the first of the 7 rounds of his righteous judgment.